Let's go.
Hey, welcome back or welcome to my channel. With the final performances for round 3 airing, we are nearing the end of the show. I want to say because it's coming to an end, the skill masters are being more harsh since everyone's supposed to show that progress, and so everyone started off bad and improved enough to perform well in the end. Regardless, the takeaways from last episode were Seunghwan was the one who did the high note and on guard. I got a bit confused with the subtitle saying Kum Junhyun, which turns out he was singing, but yeah, technically that means I would have given him my honorable mentions because he's on the roster for me of potential peoples I could add to my final lineup. The other thing was that Ricky's rank was actually 7th, which even better. And last thing was, once again, I don't know if there's like a fandom name or whatever, the Wangju Hao Nation Rising. This is some heavy bias stuff, but if you haven't seen the hype, you're really missing out. I mean, also, have you seen the costume dance practice?
Oh my god. I can't.
I'm gonna put a link in the description if you want to check out the full performance, but the fact that this showed more of his personality than most of what's been aired by Mnet though, actual criminal behavior. Other than that, I'd appreciate it if you could subscribe to my channel, but without further ado, let's recap episode 10. It starts off with a segment of what after practice looks like for the contestants and how they recover from their long days. This is followed by the judges doing a quick recap of Supercharger and On Guard before we move on to another filler segment. This one was introduced by Jo Kwon and was a musical acting mission with social media promotional prizes given to any of them who got given an all-star worthy performance, with the top contestant getting extra promotion all around Korea, which Lee Ho-taek won. That is all that kind of happened before we move on to the rest of the performances. For Switch, they had different dancing mistakes that the master evaluation felt like a mess. There was an emphasis on Tere, who had the vocal skills but lacked the dancing skills. For the most part, it's most of the people who got kicked out of their original groups who got the criticism, and it shows the impacts of them losing their confidence too. Na Kamden as the leader recruits the help of Park Han-bin, mostly with the details of the choreo, but this also helps lift the spirits of some of them as they get closer to D-Day. For Say My Name, we resume back to where we left off. They had changed the parts on the day of the master evaluation, and because of the atmosphere that's been kind of created, they got stopped halfway by the masters and were told that the contrast between how they were performing to their high rankings was so off. It was supposed to give cuteness/happiness overload, but it just wasn't. After this, Jiyoung and Matthew discuss the whole situation, which is where we see the resolution. Both apologize. Jiyoung for his harsh words and the abruptness of changing it, while Matthew for his selfishness to consider himself. I kinda knew that this was going to happen, but also side-eyeing Mnet for stretching out this to only put in like a few minutes of resolution. Like that's supposed to patch up the discourse that's been created from both ends. Regardless, the vibe started to improve as the pre-stage performance goes well, with Matthew getting complimented once again and Sungun's voice being recognized. For Over Me, Master Chick went not the best, as it felt like they were half-heartedly performing to Seolji. Vocally, they had put in a lot of practice, but dance-wise was kind of an issue. They were having a productive and active discussion to change things up while learning the choreo, but Jang Hao as the leader was being a bit too much of a people pleaser, so it became a bit of a mess because there were so many conflicting ideas and he wasn't really certain on which one to go for. Seolji gives Jang Hao some leader advice, which helps him to start making decisions. We also get their recording session, which goes well for all of them. For the reviews, I mean the same thing I've been doing, where I'll just review the performances first, then the winners. For Switch, I don't know if it was the constant camera movements, but I couldn't really notice anyone well. From what I can kind of remember, the only person who kind of remotely stood out was Na Kamden, as his rapping kind of added a bit of edge to the sweet hyper song. But just overall, I really enjoyed the performance and the energy. Park Han-bin won for this team, which was amazing, and I would say pretty deserved, as he was close to second for me and had the whole narrative of him being integral for the team like Haruta was for Supercharger.
Just say my name.
for Say My Name, another great performance. They all just were able to fit the concept well, and so it was hard to really notice anyone once again. However, the standout for me would probably be Sungun because his vocals just stood out more compared to what everyone else kind of brought. Song Han Bin ended up winning, which I feel like he was able to hold his own pretty well despite maybe not getting the screen time to justify the win. In these later rounds, it becomes more of a fan vote instead of what they gave during the performance. For Over Me, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but once again, I like the performance. Ricky's aura just oozed out in this performance and he really suited the song. Jay's ad-libs once again, chef's kiss. Despite his lacking screen time and attention, you can hear something he sings, and for the most part, I feel like I would be able to recognize it. But I guess that wasn't the vibes to the on-site voters because he ranked last in the group, which low-key kind of wild. First place went to Jang Hao, which once again, similar to Hanbin, held his own, but maybe not my preferred number one for this performance. After all of this, he went on to announce the performance rankings for this round, and from 5th to 1st, it went Switch, Supercharger, On Guard, Say My Name, and in first place was Over Me, which I'm very indifferent about. Maybe I'm becoming too desensitized to this because none of them were hit you in the face impactful, so I couldn't really rank any of them, but one thing's for sure, I was kind of shocked that Over Me won just because of the amount of global trainees in that team. Low-key, this was justice for Snake not winning in Girls Planet though. Finally, we end off with an announcement explaining a slight rundown of what's next in the elimination, in which they will do their final cut down to only 18 people heading to the finale. Final thoughts. Next week is looking like the standard elimination round, where we get that mixture of elimination with filler. Might be a me thing, but hopefully they can concise this one down to 2 hours. That special one reveal was once again done, and now we know that Park Hanbin is in rank 11th, announced by our potentially last final Star Master, Chon So-mi. Since this is the last elimination, I also have my predictions for who the top 18 will be. The top 14 just seems like they've been constantly highlighted well enough that they've accrued a decent enough fan base. Plus Ricky, who was high up in the interim ranks, as well as having the benefit from winning round 3. Despite his lack of screen time, Wang Ju-hao just seems like he's got a strong fan base, considering the views and the voting things that I've been hearing about outside of what airs from Boys Planet. My last in orange are the people I feel like I'm not sure about. Regardless, it'll be an interesting watch to see who will make it to the finale. As for my top 9, I've made one change, which was the last person I was kind of not sure about the most. As well as that, I've scrapped my honorable mention considering how close we are to the finale. So, for my top 3, once again, we have Wang Ju-hao, Keita, and Park Gun-woo. The rest of my top 9 are Jae, Song Han-bin, Jang Hao, Kim Ji-young, Park Han-bin, and now we have Kim Tae-rae. But yeah, that's it for the recap and review. Thanks for watching, and let me know your thoughts about the final performances and any predictions for potential eliminations in the next episode. Really can't believe Boys Planet will be ending soon, and considering the amount of commitment I've put into making these videos, it's gonna be weird not doing these weekly videos soon. But yeah, my next video will be the last round of eliminations for Boys Planet, so please like and subscribe to keep up to date, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!